Hi everyone! So we're on to chapter 3 today, and it's my turn to read. So I'll get straight on with it because I'm really enjoying reading George's Marvellous Medicine. It's called George Begins to Make the Medicine, so let's go. George took an enormous stewing pot out of the cupboard and he placed it onto the kitchen table. George! Came a shrill voice from the next room. What are you doing? Nothing, Grandma, he called out. You needn't think I can't hear you just because you closed the door. You're rattling all the pots and pans. I'm just tidying the kitchen, Grandma. Then there was silence. George had no doubts whatsoever about how he was going to make his famous medicine. He wasn't going to fool about wondering whether to put in a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Quite simply, he was going to put everything in that he could find. There'd be no messing about, no hesitating, no wondering whether a particular thing would knock the old girl sideways or not. The rule would be this. Whatever he saw, if it was runny or powdery or gooey, it went in. Nobody had ever made a medicine like that before. And if it didn't actually cure Grandma, then it would cause some exciting results. It would be worth watching. George decided to work his way around the various rooms one at a time and see what they had to offer. He would go first to the bathroom. There was always lots of funny things in the bathroom. So upstairs he went, carrying the enormous two-handled pot before him. In the bathroom he gazed longingly at the famous and dreaded medicine cupboard. He didn't go anywhere near it. It was the only thing in the entire house that he was forbidden to touch. He'd made solemn promises to his parents about this, and he wasn't going to break them. There were things in there, they had told him, that could actually kill a person. And although he was out to give Grandma a pretty frightful mouthful, he didn't really want a dead body on his hands. George put the stewing pot on the floor and he went to work. Number 1 was a bottle labelled Golden Gloss Hair Shampoo. He emptied it into the pot. That ought to wash her tummy nice and clean, he said. And he took a full tube of toothpaste and he squeezed out the whole lot in one long worm. Maybe that will brighten up those horrible brown teeth of hers, he said. There was an aerosol can of super foam shaving soap belonging to his father. George loved playing with aerosols. He pressed the button and kept his finger on it until there was nothing left. A wonderful mountain of white foam built up in the giant pot. With his fingers, he scooped out the contents of a jar labelled Vitamin Enriched Face Cream. In went a small bottle of scarlet nail polish. If the toothpaste doesn't clean her teeth, George said, then this'll paint them as red as roses. He found a jar of creamy stuff and labelled hair remover. Smear it on your legs, it said, and allow it to remain for 5 minutes. George tipped that all into the pot too. There was a bottle with yellow stuff inside it called Dishworth's famous dandruff cure. In that went. There was something called Brilliant for cleaning false teeth. It was a white powder. So in that went too. He found another aerosol can. Never more ponging deodorant spray guaranteed, it said, to keep away unpleasant body smells for a whole day. She could use plenty of that, George said, as he sprayed the entire can full into the stewing pot. Liquid paraffin, the next one was called. If it was a big bottle. He hadn't the faintest idea what it did to you, but he poured it in anyway. That, he thought looking around him, was about all from the bathroom. On his mother's dressing table in the bedroom, George found yet another lovely aerosol can. It was called Helga's Hair Set. Hold 12 inches away from the hair and spray lightly. He squirted the whole lot into the pot. He did enjoy squirting those aerosols. There was a bottle of perfume called Flowers of Turnips. It smelt like old cheese, but in that went anyway. And in 2 went a large round box of powder. That was called Pink Plaster. There was a pink puff on top, so he threw that in anyway for luck. He found a couple of lipsticks and he pulled out the greasy red things from their cases and added them to the mixture. The bedroom had nothing more to offer, so George carried the enormous pot downstairs and he trotted into the laundry room where the shelves were full of all kinds of household items. The first one he took was a large box of super white for automatic washing machines dirt, it said. It'll disappear like magic. George didn't know whether Grandma was automatic or not, but she was certainly a dirty old woman. So she'd better have it all, he said, tipping in the whole box full. There was a big can of Waxwell floor polish. It removes filth and foul messes from your floor and leaves everything shiny bright, it said. So George scooped out the orange-coloured waxy stuff out of the can and plucked it into the pot. There was a round cardboard box labelled flea powder for dogs. Keep well away from the dog's food, because this powder, if eaten, will make the dog explode. Good, said George, pouring it all into the shoeing pot. He found a box of canary seed on the shelf. Perhaps that'll make the old bird sing, he said, and in that went. Next, George explored the box with shoe cleaning materials, brushes and cans and polishing cloths. Well now, he thought, Grandma's medicine is brown, so my medicine must also be brown, or she'll smell a rat. The way to colour it, he decided, would be a brown shoe polish. The large can he chose was labelled dark tan. Splendid! He scooped it all out with an old spoon and plopped it into the pot. He would stir that up later. On his way back to the kitchen, George saw a bottle of gin standing on the sideboard. Grandma was very fond of gin. She was allowed to have a small nip of it every evening. Now he would give her a treat. He would pour in the whole bottle. And he did. Back in the kitchen, George put the huge stewing pot back on the table and went to the cupboard that served as a larder. The shelves were bulging with bottles and jars of every sort. He chose the following and he emptied them in one by one. A tin of curry powder, a tin of mustard powder, a bottle of extra hot chilli sauce, a tin of black peppercorns, a bottle of horseradish sauce. There, he said aloud, that should do it. George! Came a screechy voice from the next room. Who are you talking to in there, and what are you up to? Nothing, Grandma, absolutely nothing, he called back. Is it time for my medicine yet? No, Grandma, not for about half an hour. Well, just see that you don't forget about it. I won't, Grandma, I promise I won't. And that's today's chapter all done. So I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow's chapter and which teacher's reading that. All right, hope you're safe. Bye, guys.